with the Museum Association. Just to get us going, can you guys in the chat feature tell us where you're calling from or listening in on? And if you're not familiar with Lunch with NEMA, this is how you're going to be interacting with other participants and me and also Jonathan and Terra from Visit New England. So if at any point in today's lunch you guys have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat feature, and I will be passing them on. Oh, this is great. We have people from all over New England. It's always awesome that you guys are joining us. Woohoo! You're there. Okay, so that means you guys can actually hear me, so we could get going. So today we're going to be talking with Visit New England about managing your museum's online reputation. Visit New England has actually been a longtime member of NEMA, and I'm going to actually turn it over to them to let them discuss a little bit more about what they do. And I also just want to mention that today's lunch is being recorded, so you can actually view those later on if you have to leave early. And the presentation will also be available on the NEMA website later on today or early tomorrow morning. And if you do have any ideas for future Lunch with NEMAs, let us know. We are always looking for presenters. So Jonathan and Terra, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Lhowe. I'm the publisher of VisitNewEngland.com. Thank you for attending. Briefly, Visit New England is a website that's been on for about over 20 years, and we have a large audience, about 5 million people a year, who are looking for lodging and things to do, and the bulk of our audience by far lives in New England or nearby New York Metro. So even though it's a travel website, you know, this is a drive market, and most of our viewers are local. So we're going to talk about online reputation, which really consists of your social media, your reviews, and your listings. And this is sort of where the audience is now for everything from, you know, shopping, watching TV, and to learn about and find things to do, including, of course, museums. So today, you know, everybody and their dog has an opinion. And it used to be, you know, when somebody had an opinion, it used to be expressed, you know, sort of one-on-one or one to a small group, you know, around the water fountain or over drinks, you know, or a small group of acquaintances. You know, that's how it was done. But today, now, everybody's opinion and reviews and thoughts and you know, what they're thinking, they type it and it appears online. So this is the new environment that we're living in. And they're doing it on Facebook. And, you know, they're doing it on Twitter, especially the president is doing it there. And they're sharing it on many, many other sites. There are major travel review sites, Yelp, which is now really soliciting not just the restaurant reviews that it started with, but for activities and things to do. TripAdvisor, of course. You know, we talked to Angie's List if you're doing home improvements, but websites, major websites, Expedia, Google, Facebook are all running reviews in addition to their main purpose of being a search engine or social media site. So it's just continues to grow. You know, the audience is getting larger. We just pulled up recently, in fact, today, you know, how many active users are there on Facebook? It's now over 1.7 billion people use Facebook. And the interesting stat for me is when they're on Facebook, the average time spent on Facebook for a day is over half an hour, which is, you know, in internet time, that's huge. TripAdvisor, Yelp, tweets, Google, you know, the audience just keeps growing and expanding and becoming more powerful. 2/3 of people, you know, if they're going to buy from a place or visit a place or spend their money or spend their time, they're more likely to do it if there are positive reviews and much less likely to do it if there are negative reviews. And again, keep in mind that these reviews and social media are seen, you know, on desktops at home, but half the time or more they're being viewed, on mobile sites. Often when people are on the road, you can even count in that people are viewing things on their GPS, which plays into your reputation management and how well you're listed on the internet, that we will get into more later. And Yelp, this is an example. You're not a restaurant, but the example is that Yelp knows a 1-star improvement on its review for a restaurant increases revenue by 5 to 9%, which is huge for a restaurant. Now, we know museums, you have different revenue streams, from donations and bequests to sometimes some are getting money from grants. But if you could raise the number of people coming in or the revenue from people just coming through the door by 5 or 9%, I'm sure you'd be a hero for that year when they do all the numbers. But the big fact is consumers control the conversation. They're controlling it on social media. They're controlling it with their reviews, and the conversation is big, and the conversation is about you. This doesn't mean when we look at this as almost this new environment as an advantage, because while the consumers control the conversation, you are part of the conversation. If you're participating with your social media and your reviews and doing this on a regular basis, if you neglect participating, then the conversation is going to carry on without you, and you're not going to be able to participate or know really what's being said. But by participating in the conversation, you can guide it, you can direct it, you can ask questions. If you jump in on it, you're the moderator of that conversation on social media, even though it's not as much as in your control as was before the internet. So it's extremely important to be part of the conversation. And almost the bigger fact of this conversation is that it's trusted by the viewers, by the public, more than traditional media. I mean, as a former newspaper publisher, it sort of hurts me that that social media is more believable than the newspaper is. So this is the new environment type of thing. Now, hopefully, when you have a new exhibit, it gets reviewed by the newspaper and maybe the city magazine and such. But the more powerful reviews are going to be coming from people who have visited and they've taken out their phone on their way out, or even while they're there, and start typing in what they think of the museum and the new exhibit. This user-generated content grows exponentially, and it's about, the conversation that's about you is conversation you definitely need to be involved in. Even days of yore, when somebody had a bad experience, we used to love to play the victim and then tell people about it. He had the waiter spilled the soup, the customer service person was rude. You'd go home and you'd talk about it at the dinner table and again around the water cooler. Those days are gone. When people are upset, or most importantly on reviews, when the expectation is not met, they're going to whip out a negative review, a negative post on this. So that's the way people are reacting now, and it's not in your control, but you can participate. So let's talk about where it's coming from and how to handle it, and I'll have Terra come in on here, and she will talk to you about aspects of reputation management.
Hello, everybody. I'm Terra Marcarelli. Thank you so much for joining us today. Jonathan, thank you for the introduction. Definitely excited to talk to you about reputation management. So reputation, what is a reputation? It is what you say about yourself, your business, what you're putting out there for the world to see, and also what is being said about you. And the question really is, how do we use this to our advantage to grow business? managing your presence along with your reputation will help you succeed in maximizing your business growth. More so than ever before, even with consumers controlling the conversation, we do have a great opportunity and the means to increase visibility and grow business. So how we do this in an effective manner that is both positive and shows positive results and also increases our visibility? Well, there are a few different ways to do this. There are 4 major components, and all are equally important in driving business. First and foremost, number 1, visibility. Visibility is where your business information is located and how easily your potential new customers can find you. Google is still the big one, the largest search engine out there. But aside from Google, there are many, many other sites where customers can find you and where you can be followed online. And along with those sites, there are the big 4, the 4 major data providers. And these data providers are the authority when it comes to trusted information on a business. They contain information that's been gathered over years, often from many people within a business over the years and often not updated. And these big 4, Factual, Axiom, Infogroup, and Newstar Localese, function in 2 ways. They are a resource for hundreds of sites. For example, sites such as Facebook, Apple, Bing, Yahoo, Pinterest, mobile apps that are out there, as well as your car GPS and map apps. And then the second part of that is that they also distribute your data to sites. So making sure that your information is correct with these 4 is vital. If not maintained, your incorrect information will spread. Many businesses do have information missing with these 4 altogether and are missing out on optimization opportunities, or people don't know you exist because it's just not being put out there. So again, updating your information with these 4 will greatly increase your online visibility. So making sure you're listed, and in terms of being listed, your listing consists of your museum's basic contact information, your name, your address, your phone number, and your website. And you must be listed where you need to be in order to increase your visibility on major search engines, as well as other websites, for example, TripAdvisor, Expedia. There are hundreds of sites where you should be listed. And making sure that those listings are accurate is also very important, especially with those big 4 and how that information is being fed. There are hundreds of sites now and lots of new sites being developed all the time. We've put out just a few, as you can see. Here are some examples, and we do have it broken out here by category: search engines, review sites, directories, and social sites. And with social sites, of course, many, many reviews are taking place here, as well as what would be considered a standard review site. We're all familiar with the search engines. And then also there are directories, and directories are sites where your business information can be listed. Again, your phone number, your contact information, your website address.
Terra?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing about the directories to be aware of, and some of the other major sites, is you need to claim your listing.
Correct.
And if you don't claim it, somebody else can, and then then they get to control it, and you don't. So, starting with Google on down, if you have not claimed the listing for your institution, you must do that, and then you can put in the correct information there. Otherwise, if it's not claimed, you don't know what's up there. And again, with these directory sites, keep in mind that there are scores of them that you're not even aware of that have put up information that they've gotten from the Big Four about your institution that could be data that was put up 10 years ago and it is outdated.
Absolutely.
So just be aware that you need to make sure that you've claimed your listing or on the bigger sites that it's you that's controlling it and not someone you don't know. Okay, go ahead, Kara.
Good point, Jonathan.
This is Heather. I actually do have a question about the claiming. How do you claim a listing? I know with Google it usually says claim it or something like that on it, but do you have any hints and tips of how you actually go about claiming a listing?
There are various, different sites do it differently. Of course, you basically just have to go to each of these sites and claim, search for yourself and see if you are there. At the end, we can talk about ways that that we can provide a report that will at least show you how you're doing on these sites, and that's a starting point.
It is a starting point, and like we mentioned before, there are hundreds and hundreds of sites where you can be listed, so it can be a very time-consuming project. But again, we do have a report that we'll talk about towards the end that can help in assisting with this process and making it easier, more efficient, and less time-consuming. So thank you so much, Jonathan. I appreciate you pointing that out. That is good, and again, making sure that those are claimed will also help prevent any unauthorized third parties from posting about your business. And again, just making sure that information is correct. I mean, for example, here, Wilkinson's Family Restaurant. This is a bad situation. They have 4 addresses that are coming up in a Google search. Nothing is worse than losing a potential visitor because they found incorrect information about you from a source such as Google that they do trust. And with inaccuracies, sometimes it's as simple as spelling out a street address on one website, one directory, and abbreviating it on another. It's confusing. It throws off Google. It throws off your ranking. And if I'm looking for someplace to eat in Seattle, I've already clicked to Wilkinson's competition. It's just too frustrating. And it drives people crazy, especially in the world of increasingly shorter attention spans. You don't want the next click your potential new customer to make to be closing the page on that search engine and going to your competition site. We can be lazy when it comes to looking for information online. I don't know about you, but I definitely want to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, as hassle-free as possible. And making sure that your listings are posted on those sites and that they are accurate is so important to make customers happy through ease of use, but also making Google happy. And the more consistent that your listings and your information is, the higher up in Google you will appear. Google sees all. It sees all directory websites, all sites out there, pulls that information and helps to use that to gauge your overall ranking. If your information is incorrect or it's just missing altogether, Google will take that into consideration and your ranking online will be decreased. Google will penalize you for that. So moving on to reviews and mentions. We are reviewing everything online now, anything from can openers to vacations. All folks are reading reviews before they make a purchase or decide on an activity, such as visiting a museum. I personally read at least 5 reviews before traveling, visiting an attraction, or purchasing a product, and this is becoming more and more prevalent. And reviews are really, they're gold. Reviews tell you what people think of your business. And they also provide an opportunity to speak directly to the world and allow everyone to listen in. When someone posts a review on your site, their opinion has now been made publicly, whether it's a good opinion or a bad opinion of your business. So the question is, how do we deal with both types of reviews? We need to use reviews as a management tool and utilize those reviews to make business better, to do better in your business and in your daily operations, and that translates into more revenue to the bottom line. So monitoring reviews. Best practice is to publicly respond to all reviews. Again, both the good and the bad, so that the world knows that you're paying attention and that you care about what's happening. And there are 3 steps to review success. Number 1, engage your reviewers. Make sure that you're out there, in front of them and paying attention. Using reviews as a management tool. Again, in working with and responding to both positive reviews and bad reviews. And then harvesting user-generated content. Taking those reviews, showing people that you're paying attention, and using that content to further increase your reach. And the fact is, reviews equal revenue. This I find so interesting. I love statistics. 90% of all U.S. customers say that their buying decisions are influenced by online reviews. So again, I can't stress how important this is. And let's use those reviews as a management tool to improve upon business, the customer experience, and when people visit your museum. When you do have a positive review, don't be afraid to share it. Toot your own horn. Sometimes folks just want to be acknowledged, and in seeing positive reviews responded to publicly by a business will encourage them to then post more positive reviews on your site. And moving on to the competition and how we can effectively outsell them. First of all, know your competition. Watch what they do and do it better. If your competition posts on social media twice a week, post 4 times a week. Aim for better reviews. Be proactive in asking visitors to post reviews on your site, and then share those positive reviews from one outlet to another. Really use it as collateral. Know your content, keywords, and who you truly compete against for market share. And also, just monitor the competition's usage of these keywords and make sure you're doing better. You can also watch for any specials or offers that they are putting out there and make sure that you're not behind in a trend or in anything that is a hot topic that could potentially increase your audience reach. And social marketing. And again, this is, of course, now also a great source for reviews and being used just as much as the more typical review sites such as TripAdvisor. We all have a Facebook page. Now, how do we use this to drive revenue? There are 3 components to social marketing: building fans, generating leads, and customer service. By building fans, we are able to then generate leads through utilizing user-generated content. So paying attention to your followers and what's trending and responding to their posts, and also use this opportunity to improve upon your customer service. Your visitors will definitely tell you what they want.
Tara,
yes,
one suggestion for generating leads on social media can be, how do I do that? Well, one example is, you have your followers and be aware of what they're talking about. This time of year, if you're finding that someone who you're following on social media has announced an engagement, well, there's contact them to say, well, are you aware that we host weddings at our museum?
Great idea.
And just again, if you become more familiar with what people are talking about and delve into it, you will find leads. You will be able to again, get people to groups and others that are talking to each other. Pay attention, and the leads will appear. So, okay, go ahead, Sarah.
Absolutely, and and part of that is building fans that you can keep an eye on and follow. And there are a few different ways to do that. Posting interesting and relevant content. Change it up. Don't be too salesy. Launch interesting posts. There are an unlimited number of topics that can be covered. Definitely, it's best practice for museums, to post any new exhibits, events, or exciting news that you want to share. You could also post information about your community and the region, entice travelers to visit the museum, spend the day, and stay in the region for the weekend. We've found at visitnewengland.com that pretty pictures, good images being posted to social media pages definitely helps in building the audience. It's not salesy. People want to see nice pictures. Of course, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and this translates very well for museums and will help capture new attention. I have visited a number of museums around New England myself after seeing an interesting photo, or an enticing photo or post on Facebook or the other sites. And influencers. So influencers are not only Facebook fans turned into advocates for the business, but could also be, say, a blogger at a local newspaper or a hotelier in the area sending guests your way.
Yeah, and for influencers, the people in your community that are your community leaders, and especially if you find people in the community that are busy online, think about setting up a special event for them to come to the museum and give them, a special event to tell them about everything that you're doing. And if you stroke them a little bit, they will write more about you and promote you. And it won't cost you anything but an evening at the museum and some hors d'oeuvres. But find out who they are and definitely communicate with them and encourage them and treat them well, because you'll get a lot in return.
It's all about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is Heather again, and I just want to mention that I know with Instagram, some of the museums are offering some of the Instagram groups to come in before the museum opens or after it closes, when it's quiet and empty and stuff like that, to come in and have a group meeting and stuff like that and photograph it. And some of the images that come out of those are so gorgeous, and as you said, a picture is worth 1,000 words, stuff like that. So I think there's definitely some groups out there that would be good to work with too.
Oh yeah, and well, think
Absolutely.
about just the local photography group.
Mm-hmm. Come
in, on get some lighting set up interior, get a nice day outside, and say, just take all the pictures you want. We're not. It's just going to be you. Just going to be photographers. No one's going to be. You have all the. Be able to see everything you want to see and take a lot of pictures. That'd be great.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I love that Instagram idea, especially since when you post photos into Instagram, you are able to of course, tag the business, and mentions of a business in Instagram does help with your overall visibility online. And also a great way to keep an eye on the competition and what they're doing for mentions and look for new leads.
And also, every time you tweet, it should have an image.
Absolutely.
Just don't tweet text. Tweet with images as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
that sort of segues into our next slide, which is, again, talking about being creative and posting frequently, post new deals and offers, and again, keep an eye on what your competitors are doing, and make sure that you are in the loop on what is trending and using that to your advantage. Because social media really does give us a great opportunity to connect with people and convert lookers into customers. And once you have connected with these folks, make sure that you keep them happy, and that they're pleased with their experience, with their visit to your museum, and they will post about it. They will share the information. They'll tell their friends, and they're doing that through social media and review sites. So again, just making sure that you are keeping track of all that's being said about you is so important, not only for watching trends, but also so that you can be a part of the conversation and use that information, these conversations, to get your management team involved, so you can, improve where you need to, or for kudos on things that you're doing well. We've talked a lot about, good reviews. We talked some about, responding publicly to bad reviews. There was a recent study that said people feel that a customer service issue reported via post on a social media site is more likely to be resolved with a positive outcome than by calling a company over the phone. This is really the new way of doing things. This is now how people want customer service issues to be resolved. Again, as I said before, it is public, and so therefore it is more transparent than a phone call. And that transparency really helps to build trust, especially when you are responding, when you are engaged, and you're taking care of a problem when it arises. So, once you do build that trust, you will be converting customers to fans, and then to brand ambassadors, and your overall online visibility and ranking and your revenue will increase.
Yeah. A note on negative reviews. They come from time to time. I mean, you for museums, I don't assume that you're getting as many negative reviews as other institutions. The old story about railroads way back was when a man wrote to the railroad to say that he'd been in a sleeping car and it had cockroaches in it, and he wrote to the president of the railroad, and a few days later the letter came back apologizing to him about it, and unfortunately for the railroad, clipped to it was a note that the president of the railroad had sent to his secretary saying, "Send this idiot the cockroach letter." Today, when you get a negative review, the first thing you need to do is acknowledge it, and then what you want to do is take that conversation offline. You don't want to all of a sudden start getting a back and forth or a flaming discussion going online. You get it offline by telling the person to call you or send you an email, and work it that way between the two of you, and then when it is resolved, you can go back and post a response to the review about how it has been resolved and how. But just always respond to it, acknowledge it, apologize, and move it offline. Before we go to the recap, somebody had a question about, if someone else has already claimed your listing, what do you do? Well, it's not fun. because you're going to have to try to contact the website and explain to them, first of all, find out how to contact them, then find out, if there is a policy and how to do that. It's a long and tiresome process to convince a website that there's a mistake there and it needs to be fixed. They don't want to hear from you, and they don't want to deal with it. So the best way to do it is just, preventing it from happening. So before I get to this,
there are ways.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There are ways. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Jonathan. There are ways to do it. Like Jonathan said, it is labor intensive and can take a long time to have that issue resolved. And it may come down to you proving and verifying that you are a contact at a museum and that you have the authority to make these changes. It could be sending in a copy of your electric bill for the museum or other documentation to verify. So it is a long process.
And again, there's many of them out there. But if anybody has questions now, send them in. I'm curious to find out if you're finding that just taking care of all the social media and reviews is taking up too much time. And I'm also trying to find out if this is something that the management of the institution recognizes as an aspect of your work that is important, and that it also applies to them as a management tool. But just for the recap is consumers control the conversation. But it's a conversation that you can be involved in, you need to be involved in, and you can direct it. So be there consistently, be there, be attuned to what's being said, and as you get more involved in the conversation will improve, and to your benefit. Monitoring, is the first step. You have to manage your reputation online, and you have to build the reputation online, and you have to bring in your management to understand that that if we do this well, do it as well as we can, we will get better results and will cost less money than having to promote the museum traditional ways. And it will get management's attention, and if you work it, you will see the results. This is where the audience is, and this is where you need to be. And social media, again, it becomes a two-way street. It's a way that you can gain more attention, gain more visitors, gain more reputation. So please, make sure that you do participate in social media, pay attention to it, and grow with it. We have
another note.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, if you don't mind me stepping in there. Another note. The great thing about all of this, when it comes to being a marketing person, working with your management team or ownership, is that all of these results are measurable. It's all digital, so you can measure your results, through reviews, through social media, and through your results once you have your listing inaccuracies taken care of, and make sure that you are where you need to be with the big 4 data providers and the hundreds of sites that are out there. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, and to that end, for NEMA members, we can provide you a report about your museum and what your status is for reviews and social media on the directories. It's a powerful and free report. And if you're interested in receiving one, please email myself or Terra using the emails here, and provide the museum name the way it's supposed to be. The actual, if it's got a "the" at the beginning, if it doesn't, but accurate name of the museum. Provide the website address, and also we can also sort of rank you against up to 3 competitors. So anybody that wants one of these reports, send that information to us, and we'll be able to turn these around in a few days and email them back to you. And it, for a lot of people that have seen them, it's quite an eye-opener. So do that, and hopefully it'll be helpful for you, and we hope that we've been helpful today, just emphasizing, and I hope you take it to your board and your management that social media and reputation management and review sites are paramount for moving the museum forward, because this is where the people are and this is where we need to be. So I want to thank you for your time.
And that will continue to grow.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And we'd love to answer any other questions that you have. Also, I noticed a note or a question here in the chat regarding sites where you should be listed on this PowerPoint presentation, which will be available when we're done online through NEMA. There are a few slides that show a sampling of just some of those sites where you should be listed. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more. So that is not the end-all, be-all, and again, we can further gauge that for you and how well you are represented if you contact us for a free report. Thank you.
And we are NEMA members, so if you have any questions about online marketing and advertising and such that we could help you with, please give us a call or drop us a note. I mean, we're not going to turn around and sell you. We're happy to work with you. We like museums. We like museum people.
Yes, we do.
NEMA's always been out in front and helping us, communicate with you, and hopefully you among yourselves. So we appreciate that.
I also want to put a plug in for the Museum New England. We actually have a website for our members to list themselves. It's free. You just need to put the information in. That's what it comes down to, I think, with a lot of the sites is, you need to put the information in. But I would encourage, if you're not on Museums New England, I would definitely encourage you to list your site on there. It is free if you're a NEMA member. And then Dory made a comment also worth pointing out, the value of interacting with other libraries, archives, museums on social media. Customers love seeing banter among institutions. So actually this kind of brings up the subject as I was talking earlier offline, is that last November, a couple museums in the Boston area actually got together and they swapped Instagram accounts. So basically someone from one museum went to another museum, and that's all they did that day was they posted from that organization that they were visiting, and that went through their feed. So it was kind of this cross-pollination. It was actually really cool to see the photos that they were focusing on, the cool facts and information. I don't know, I thought it was cool, but...
That is fantastic. And again, like we said before, it is absolutely relationship-based, and those relationships can help to build brand ambassadors and influencers who will increase your overall visibility and bring new business to your door.
So Sean, keep going.
Go ahead. Sean, yes, there are tools. They aren't free. There are quite a few. We use one. But most of these tools involve, a subscription service, and there's probably been a lot of software written for them. So, some things are free, some aren't. We haven't found any that are free that will bring you all your reviews and mentions and social media into one spot. That's worthwhile if it's free. Sorry, but
Sean, you're welcome to contact us. Yes, Sean, you're welcome to contact us. We do have some information on some tools that could be used that really do help manage everything in one location.
Good. Okay. How are we doing, Heather?
Good. And then to answer Jonah's question, I think might have been me they're referring to is museumsnewengland.com. You can actually find it through the NEMA website. It's linked on the first page of the NEMA website, and how to be listed and how to search through museums that are listed on there. I think that's what you were looking for there. Is there any other questions that you guys have? This is the time to ask them right now. They are here to answer them.
Yeah. And happy to do so.
All right. Look at Google Analytics, social on page. Good. All right. So that'll cover part of it. That's CYFE. Good. So I hope I hope that you're not overburdened with this. It's easy to get buried in social media and reviews, but please, make sure that everybody in your institution understands how important is the work that you do to publicize the museum and to bring people in to enjoy it. Great. Small, Aaron has a question. Facebook and Twitter, definitely. They're the big boys. Instagram is worthwhile because it's all visual. If you can, I would say work those three as best you can, and that will get you the best return for the time that you put into it.
There are other social media sites too, for example, that information on your business or posts will be weighted in your overall visibility and ranking. For example, Foursquare was really popular a couple of years ago. It's kind of slowed down in its popularity and usage in the U.S. But with that being said, just because not everyone is using it doesn't mean that it is not being used. It's not being weighed against your overall ranking, and that people are posting about your business on that website. So again, the free snapshot report that we offer will show you exactly where you stand in all components of your online reputation and visibility.
So, Kate's saying she uses Pinterest to look for potential brides. Great. Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's a great source. Other museums, they can make Twitter work for them. One thing about, Twitter, the difference between sort of Facebook and Twitter, Facebook is viewed mostly by women more than men, and it is very visual, and if you try to sell directly to people on Facebook, it'll usually backfire. Twitter is more, I don't know if it's dominant by men, but more men are using Twitter, and you have a better chance of really promoting, trying to push something better on Twitter than you do on Facebook. And time invested to social media and ROI. There probably are studies. I can't bring one up right now. And I imagine the thing with studies like that is there's lots of them on any given subject about online marketing. You sort of have to delve into them to find out if it's relevant to you or, if it seems that they're making sense or just blowing smoke, because there's a lot of marketing white papers and websites that are just subtly trying to toot their own horn. So, look around and see, but I don't know one directly that would give you that information.
And obviously, with time invested, you want to be able to do all of this in the most effective way as possible, so that you can save time to take care of all of these components, which are important, but then also make sure that you're taking care of your customers and your visitors.
Okay, is there any last-minute questions here before we sign off for the day? Okay, looks like we asked and answered all of them.
All right,
I just want to say thank you to everybody that joined us today, and especially to Jonathan and Terra for
thank you, Heather.
Especially our first launch of 2017. Looking forward to the next couple ones. But thanks right now.
All right. Heather, thank you. Thanks to everybody at NEMA. We appreciate the opportunity and look forward to working with you as best we can for the benefit of all the members.
And I also want to mention, this kind of your topic ties into our next launch with NEMA in February, and it will be on creating a major gift program in a small shop, because I know a lot of you guys were small organizations on the call today. And I also want to mention again that today's lunch was recorded, and it will be available on the NEMA website, along with all of the past issues of Lunch with NEMA. So thanks, everybody, and stay warm. Thanks.
Have a great day. Thanks again. Take care.
Bye-bye.